Have you ever felt that sinking weight in your chest, the one that hits when someone you cared about drifts away? Maybe she left, maybe she pulled back, or maybe you feel that invisible wall growing between you. And in those moments, every man wonders, will she ever come back? The truth is, most men approach this entirely wrong. They panic, they overthink, they try to control something that isn't theirs to control. And yet, there's a quiet, almost invisible pattern that works, something few men ever truly understand. Something subtle that, if done with awareness, respect, and patience, can make her return. Not because you're chasing her, but because you've changed the dynamic entirely. Before we go any further, I want you to take a slow breath. Let that tension in your body ease for a moment. This isn't about tricks or games or manipulation. It's about understanding a deeper rhythm, an emotional truth women respond to instinctively. And by the time we reach the end of this conversation, you're going to see why everything you've thought about getting her back might have been backwards. Most men fall into the trap of thinking that if they show enough effort, attention, or even apology, she'll come back. But the reality is much more nuanced. Women, like men, are drawn to certain types of energy. Energy that reflects confidence, self-awareness, and emotional stability. Not desperation, not pleading, and not over-explaining yourself. There's a magnetic pull that forms when you do the exact opposite of what panic tells you to do. And here's the part most men miss. Absence, when combined with authenticity, doesn't push her away. It gives her space to reflect on what she's truly missing. Space to see you not as someone chasing her, but as someone living your life with purpose. That shift alone can be enough to trigger a return, but only if it's done consciously. Now, I know the thought of giving her space can feel terrifying. It feels counterintuitive, almost cruel. But the truth is, space doesn't mean emptiness. It means presence in your own life, presence in your own growth, presence in the kind of man who doesn't define his worth by someone else's attention. And that presence is magnetic in ways words cannot describe. If you stay with me through this video, I'm going to break down exactly what this looks like in practice, how to subtly shift the energy between you and her, how to communicate without saying too much, and how to create the kind of pull that almost guarantees she'll come back, naturally and willingly. But first, take a moment to reflect. Are you holding on out of fear, or are you holding on from a place of quiet strength? That distinction will determine everything. And if this message resonates with you, consider giving this video a like and subscribing. Not because you have to, but because you're about to learn something most men never will. Something quietly powerful that could change everything in your relationships. When she pulls away, it's rarely about you being not enough or having done something wrong. Most men take it personally, but the reality is far more subtle and far more powerful. Women pull away when they sense imbalance in the emotional energy between you. It's rarely a conscious decision, it's instinctive. She's scanning the energy you radiate, the way you move through your life, and whether you operate from presence or from lack. Here's the key. Women are wired to notice stability. They feel when a man is emotionally centered, grounded in his own world, and secure in his identity. And when she senses uncertainty, neediness, or overdependence, even subtly, she instinctively creates distance. It's not punishment, it's protection. She's protecting her emotional space and unconsciously testing whether you can hold yourself without collapsing under the weight of absence. Most men respond the wrong way. They text more, call more, over-apologize, or try to explain every thought and feeling. And while that may feel like love, it actually signals the opposite: neediness, fear, attachment that is conditional. And here's the hard truth. Women are not drawn to conditional attachment. They're drawn to strength wrapped in emotional intelligence. This is where the concept of absence comes in. But not just absence in the sense of ignoring her or playing games. I'm talking about strategic emotional presence, living fully in your own life while giving her the subtle, silent message that you're not desperate for validation, that you're a man capable of thriving regardless of her choices, yet your life is richer if she chooses to be part of it. And here's something many men don't realize. The more she sees you thriving without her, the more she will reflect on what she's missing. Space creates curiosity. Space creates longing. And longing is often the spark that precedes her return. But this only works if your absence is authentic. She can feel desperation a mile away. She can detect manipulation. What she can't resist is genuine strength and calm self-possession. So the first step is not to chase her back, but to chase yourself forward. Invest in your purpose, commit to growth, strengthen your relationships, friendships, and ambitions outside of her. Because when your life is full, absence doesn't feel like distance. It feels like magnetic pull. You are no longer waiting for her. You are living as if your life doesn't depend on her attention. And as you start this shift, notice a change in your energy. The anxiety begins to fade, the overthinking starts to loosen, and a quiet confidence emerges. This is the energy she responds to instinctively. It's not loud, it's not flashy, it's subtle, deep, and undeniably compelling. And this, more than anything else, is the first real step toward her returning, not because you forced it, but because your presence now invites it naturally. Now that you understand why she pulls away, the next step is learning how to shift your energy in a way that makes her want to return, but without saying a single word about it. This isn't about manipulation or playing mind games. It's about cultivating presence, confidence, and emotional depth that naturally draws her back. Think of it this way: the energy you project communicates far more than your words ever could. Every man has an invisible emotional aura, and women are experts at reading it. If that aura is anxious, clingy, or desperate, she will instinctively step back. If it is calm, grounded, and thriving, she will notice, even subconsciously. And that notice is the beginning of her reflection, the spark that makes her question why she pulled away in the first place. So how do you cultivate that energy? First, focus on yourself. Prioritize your passions, your health, and your ambitions. When she observes you living fully, she unconsciously starts to reassess her decision to distance herself. This isn't about proving anything to her. It's about proving to yourself that your life is whole, with or without her attention. And paradoxically, when you operate from this place of inner fulfillment, you become magnetic. Next, master subtle communication. This doesn't mean sending long messages trying to explain your feelings. It means the art of measured presence, short, meaningful interactions, a calm tone, and confident body language if you meet in person. Every interaction should convey, silently, that you are stable, unshakable, and aware of your own value. Nothing desperate, nothing pleading, just quiet, compelling assurance. Another crucial element is emotional curiosity. While she's away, observe her behavior without judgment or overanalyzing. Notice the little changes in her energy, her tone, or her actions. This isn't about control, it's about awareness. Emotional curiosity allows you to respond intelligently rather than react impulsively. And intelligence, combined with emotional calm, is far more attractive than any words of apology could ever be. It's also important to embrace patience. This is the hardest part for most men because our minds push us to seek immediate results. But timing is a subtle art. By giving her space, you allow the natural pull to emerge instead of forcing the connection. Remember, the energy you project must remain consistent. Fluctuations in desperation or anxiety cancel out all the work you've done cultivating calm presence. Finally, be unpredictable in the right way. Not in behavior that confuses or manipulates, but in ways that remind her of the richness of your life. Engage in new experiences, take small risks, and show growth in ways that are visible yet natural. Women are drawn to men who evolve continuously. Stagnation is invisible, but growth is magnetic. And when she observes that, she begins to wonder if stepping away was truly the best choice. By the end of this process, you're no longer simply hoping she will return. You are embodying the kind of man who is naturally irresistible, not because of tactics, but because of presence, patience, and authenticity. She will feel it. This energy cannot be faked, and it is what creates the pull that will eventually bring her back to you, almost inevitably. By now, you might be wondering what actually triggers her desire to return. It's not words, it's not grand gestures, it's subtle, invisible, and deeply psychological. Women respond to what I call emotional resonance, the feeling that a man embodies stability, self-worth, and growth, while simultaneously holding space for connection. When these layers align, she doesn't just think about coming back, she feels it. One of the most powerful triggers is consistency. Not consistency in messaging or contact, but consistency in who you are. When you remain calm, composed, and unwavering in your emotional energy, she senses a man who isn't dependent on external validation. This alone can shift her perspective more than any apology or explanation ever could. In other words, she starts to see you not as a man she might leave, but as a man who cannot be shaken by absence, and that is profoundly attractive. Another invisible trigger is independence. Women are instinctively drawn to men whose lives are full, whose days are rich with purpose, hobbies, friendships, and personal victories. This independence signals that you are a man who thrives on his own terms, not because of her attention, but because of your own commitment to growth. And here's the subtle truth. When a woman sees this, she unconsciously evaluates whether leaving actually aligns with her own desire for connection. It's the shift from "I'm walking away" to "maybe I want to be a part of that life." Curiosity is also a hidden but powerful force. When you engage in new experiences, develop new skills, or simply embrace personal evolution, she notices, even if she tries not to. This curiosity triggers a psychological pull. Humans are naturally drawn to what they cannot fully predict or control, and growth creates a magnetic unknown. She may reflect, quietly, "Who is this man now?" That reflection opens the door for reconnection, because she's drawn not just to memories, but to the version of you that continues to evolve. There's also an emotional subtlety that many men overlook: confidence without arrogance. This is the balance that most men struggle to achieve. It's the ability to remain strong, self-assured, and calm while still being approachable, emotionally intelligent, and present. It communicates a quiet power. She can sense it in small gestures, a measured tone, a relaxed posture, a smile that doesn't overcompensate. That silent language, more than anything else, triggers emotional re-evaluation. Finally, patience amplifies all of these triggers. Nothing works faster than a man who respects time and space. Her mind and heart need the chance to process, reflect, and feel the absence without pressure. By resisting the urge to fill every void with messages, calls, or explanations, you allow these psychological triggers to take root naturally. Absence, consistency, independence, curiosity, and calm confidence all combine to create a gravitational pull that is almost impossible to ignore. At this stage, the energy between you begins to shift subtly but profoundly. She may start to reach out, or she may simply begin to reconsider her decision internally. The key is that you are no longer reactive. You are magnetic, composed, and fully alive in your own world. And this, more than anything, is what lays the foundation for her return. Now that you understand the invisible triggers, the next step is translating them into actionable, subtle behaviors without ever appearing desperate or manipulative. This is where most men fail. They know the theory but stumble in practice. The truth is, what matters isn't what you say. It's what you project through your actions, mindset, and presence. First, prioritize your own life. Invest in your goals, your passions, your health, and your friendships. Show growth and consistency in these areas every day. When she observes that your life is rich and fulfilling, it reinforces the pull we've been discussing. You're no longer a man waiting for her attention. You are a man she wants to be part of naturally, because your energy signals strength, purpose, and independence. Next, master the art of quiet communication. When she does reach out, keep your responses calm, brief, and confident. Don't over-explain, justify, or apologize unnecessarily. These subtle interactions communicate that your emotional world is stable, that your worth isn't dependent on her reaction, and that you're a man who values his own time and energy. This creates respect, and respect is a key precursor to desire. Another crucial behavior is selective absence. This doesn't mean ignoring her or creating artificial distance. It means allowing her space to reflect, to notice what she's missing, and to reassess her decision. Absence combined with authenticity triggers curiosity and longing. Every moment you spend fully present in your own life strengthens the magnetic energy we've been discussing. Then, embrace small, visible signs of growth. Whether it's learning a new skill, taking care of your physical health, or engaging in activities that expand your worldview, these signals are powerful. They demonstrate evolution and vitality. Women are drawn to growth. It signals that life with you is dynamic, interesting, and expansive. She may not articulate it, but subconsciously, she begins to associate your presence with excitement and stability simultaneously. Equally important is cultivating emotional calm. Even if she tests, challenges, or provokes you, respond with measured composure. Emotional volatility erodes attraction. Calm, grounded energy amplifies it. When she senses that you cannot be easily shaken, she starts to see you as a man of value, someone whose presence is magnetic rather than contingent on her approval. Finally, patience is everything. The pull we've been building is subtle and slow-moving. It's not about instant results. It's about creating a lasting shift in the emotional dynamic. Every moment you resist the urge to chase, over-explain, or plead strengthens your position. You are no longer the man clinging to her attention. You are the man she increasingly wants to choose because you have created an irresistible combination of presence, growth, and emotional stability. By applying these behaviors consistently, you quietly transform the relationship dynamic. She may begin to notice your evolution, to reflect on the emotional gap she feels, and to reconsider her choices. This isn't about manipulation. It's about embodying the kind of energy that naturally attracts, pulls, and inspires longing without a single word of pressure. At this stage, we begin to enter the deeper layers of psychology, the patterns that almost guarantee she will reconsider and feel drawn back. And here's a truth that few men understand. Attraction is as much emotional as it is rational. When she pulls away, part of her mind may resist, but her emotions often linger. Those emotions respond to subtle cues, energy, consistency, presence, and the silent signals of self-assured growth. One of the most powerful patterns is emotional contrast. Women are drawn to men who can balance intensity and calm, who can navigate life's ups and downs without losing composure. When she experiences absence from you combined with the knowledge or subtle observation that your life is thriving, she begins to feel a mix of curiosity, longing, and reflection. It's this contrast between her perception of distance and your confident presence that triggers deep attraction. Another crucial dynamic is non-attachment. This is often misunderstood. Non-attachment doesn't mean indifference. It means that your happiness and self-worth are not contingent upon her return. It's a quiet strength that communicates, "I am complete within myself." This energy is magnetic because it creates the paradox. She sees a man who doesn't chase, yet she feels a growing emotional pull to reconnect. The more genuine your self-possession, the more natural her desire to return becomes. Timing also plays a subtle but critical role. She needs the space to process, to reflect, and to observe the changes in you without pressure. By giving her this breathing room, you allow the subconscious processes to unfold. Her emotions start to realign with the memory of connection, the subtle admiration for your growth, and the latent longing that may have been dormant when tension and neediness dominated. Then there's the importance of emotional resonance in interactions. Every brief contact, whether a text, a phone call, or a casual meeting, is an opportunity to silently reinforce your presence. The goal is not to impress her with words, but to transmit calm, confidence, and authenticity. Your energy speaks louder than any explanation ever could. She will feel it. She will respond to it. And that response is what gradually shifts her emotional state toward reconsideration. Finally, understand the power of unseen patience. Men often overestimate the need to fix the situation immediately, but women respond over time to consistent, authentic energy. The pull you create doesn't need to be forceful. It only needs to be persistent, subtle, and undeniable. By embodying this combination of growth, calm, and emotional intelligence, you become the version of yourself that she didn't realize she wanted to return to, but now can't resist. The beauty of this approach is that it doesn't rely on tricks, manipulation, or pressure. It's based on human psychology, emotional truth, and the natural laws of attraction. And when it's applied correctly, her return isn't a question. It becomes a natural outcome of the energy you embody. Now we arrive at the final layer, the mindset and behaviors that turn all of what we've discussed into reality. By this point, you understand absence, calm presence, growth, patience, and emotional resonance. But to truly ensure she comes back, it's about embodying these principles consistently, not sporadically, not half-heartedly, but as a natural part of who you are. First, commit to your personal evolution. Every day, take actions that expand your life, enrich your mind, and strengthen your character. This isn't for her, it's for you. But the effect is unavoidable. She sees a man who is continually becoming better, a man whose life is full and compelling. Growth is magnetic. It signals that being with you is an opportunity, not a fallback. And when she observes this silently, she begins to feel the pull we've been building from the very first day of your absence. Second, reinforce emotional calm and confidence. This is the anchor of attraction. Regardless of her actions, her words, or the pace of reconnection, remain grounded in your own self-worth. A man who wavers under emotional pressure creates tension and doubt. A man who remains steady communicates security, stability, and desirability. That stability is irresistible. It doesn't need to be proven. It is felt, deeply and unconsciously. Next, embrace subtle curiosity in your interactions. Allow her to notice changes in you, your growth, and your energy. Show new sides of yourself through actions, not explanations. She will be drawn to the mystery of evolution, the sense that life with you is dynamic and alive. Curiosity, combined with your emotional calm, deepens her reflection. Who is this man now, and why do I feel drawn to him? Equally important is maintaining healthy detachment. This doesn't mean cutting off connection. It means avoiding the trap of neediness. She must sense that your attention is earned by alignment, not demanded by desperation. When a man exudes calm self-possession, it triggers a deep, instinctive desire in her to reconnect. She doesn't return because you chased her. She returns because you embody a life she wants to be part of. Finally, understand the power of consistency over time. Attraction is cumulative. Every action, every day of presence, every display of growth and emotional stability adds layers to the magnetic pull. It is subtle, almost imperceptible at first, but over time it reshapes her emotional landscape. Her mind begins to reconcile her distance with her lingering feelings, and eventually the pull becomes irresistible. So here's the ultimate truth. She will come back, not because you begged, not because you over-explained, and not because you tried to control her. She will come back because you have become a man who embodies presence, growth, and quiet confidence, the kind of man women reflect on, desire, and ultimately want in their lives. Your calm, patient, authentic energy creates the gravitational force that naturally draws her toward you. Take a moment and let that sink in. This is not about tricks. It is not about manipulation. It is about self-mastery, emotional intelligence, and the kind of presence that makes absence feel magnetic. And when you live this way, you are no longer waiting. You are thriving. And that is why, almost inevitably, she will return.